Hey guys, the old school UI that I had created slowly over the span of 10 years of World of Warcraft is no more. I think we reached about 500 UI complaints in Twitch chat before I decided it was finally time to put the monster to rest. And while functional, I understand it wasn't really the most viewer-friendly UI, and even when I took a step back myself and looked at it, I could see there were definitely some improvements that could have been made, both from a visual and user-friendly perspective. However, the main idea behind the old UI has been carried over to the new UI, so it's not completely lost. The most important thing for me about a UI is centralization. I want to see everything that is important to me and my survival since I'm a tank close to my character so that I never have to move my eyes. This is what both my old and new UI has been built around, just that the new UI is a little bit more thought out, cleaner, and slightly flashier due to some WeakAuras usage. So yeah, the first step in creating my new UI was mapping out what was important for me to see. Hit points and class resources such as rage, focus targets, which is normally like the off tank, buffs and debuffs across these frames from various different boss encounters, cast bars, big wigs for boss timers, external raid cooldowns like Iron Bark, pain suppression, so I can call for them quickly, and also splitting my class spells into different tiers so that, for example, I can see my standard rotation spells on a very visible part of my screen. For example, like Shield Slam, Revenge, Thunderclap, Shield Block. I need to see those cooldowns because I need to see when they're available straight away. Other spells, such as like tier 2 spells, are like other cooldowns that I want to track but are not necessarily in your standard rotation. And then finally, I have some spells that like tier 3 spells that could be completely hidden because they have no cooldown. You know, for example, Focus Rage or Heroic Throw, or I just don't need to visibly see them while they're not on cooldown. So, splitting the spells. Also, then, what am I wanting to see? I'm wanting to see custom WeakAuras to show important things for the class, such as when I use Ignore Pain. I want it to be very visible in my character when up and showing the absorb amount and the timer. And I will show this later in the video. And finally, some combat text around the outside. So it's not too intrusive, but just so I'm aware of the incoming damage and healing stream. Anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at the UI in action, guys. Okay, so I'm on the Blood DK, guys. Let me quickly show you this, show you some things about the UI. So first things first, guys, there's a few things that are important to track on Blood DK, which is what I was talking to you, I did with the WeakAuras. If I show you Death and Decay, it's important to track Death and Decay and that you're standing in it as a Blood Death Knight, because when you're standing in your own Death and Decay, you generate 15% more runic power, okay? So if I throw down Death and Decay, you'll see the bar counting down next to my character. It's currently showing red. If I move into my own Death and Decay, it turns to green. If I move out, it turns to red. So basically that's just tracking that I'm in my own Death and Decay and I'm getting that 15% more runic power generated on spells. So second thing, guys, is the Bone Shields. So if I go up to this and hit it once with Bone Shield, okay, you can see that I have 3 charges of Bone Shield, guys. This number is bouncing above my character's head and it's in red. It's bouncing in red because, again, as a Blood DK, guys, with talent, you want to have at least 5 charges of Bone Shield up to get Death Strike cost 5 less runic power. So if I use it again, we now have 7 charges, guys, and this is turned to green, which means I get the runic power discount on Death Strike. Another cool WeakAuras I can show you with Blood DK, guys, is the Death Strike Absorb. So the blood shield that you get when you use Death Strike. So if I use Death Strike right now, guys, there you go. You can see the blood shield up here, 125k. You can see around my character that I'm going to absorb at the next 125k physical damage. So yeah, that's 3 cool little WeakAuras that I'm using on my Blood DK. I'm using these kind of WeakAuras on all my tank classes. I can show you some of the other ones as well, and I will obviously make them available to you guys down below the video. The next thing I want to point out about the UI is, if I just throw down some spells, okay, I'm going to use Dancing Rune Weapon. You can see that it pops up on top of my character, showing that I actually have it active. You'll also notice that it pops up above my character frame, showing the cooldown. So if I throw some more spells on cooldown here, for example, Taunt or Mind Freeze, you can see that they pop up on cooldown there. And when the taunt comes off, it'll jump on my character. You see that? So that's just popping up the cooldowns when they come available on top of my character. So I have that visual reference. Here we go again with the Mind Freeze. Here it comes. There you go. So basically when I'm putting spells on cooldown, they appear above my character frame and they pop up on my character when the cooldown is over to show me that they are now available. So here we are on the Protection Warrior in a familiar setting, guys, the Garrison. So let's go. You can see the first cooldown there on Intercept, Heroic Leap, second Intercept, and in regards to WeakAuras for the Warrior, let's look at the ignore pain, you can see the absorb around my character. You can see when I use shield block, it shows the uptime via a blue line. And finally, another interesting weak aura for warrior is the vengeance weak aura. Now this vengeance weak aura is showing me that on the next ignore pain I use, I get a 50% discount. So when I use ignore pain, you can see that the next discount I get is on focused rage, and then vice versa, ignore pain again. So this weak aura just lets you keep track of which spell, whether it's focused rage or ignore pain, is getting the 50% discount. Quite handy. Okay, won the Paladin, and the Paladin is tracking consecration. So when I use consecration, the green bar turns to blue, counts down how long I've got left on my consecration, and goes back to green. Consecration again. You can also see that I'm tracking the blessed hammers. So if I use one, you can see that green line disappears until it's off cooldown again, and so on. Finally, I am tracking the Shield of Righteous spells that are available. So if I use one, you can see that one of the shields disappears. You can see it starting to charge again, and you can see these yellow bars around my character. That is showing the uptime of the Shield of Righteous. If you want to download the UI, then please see the video description below. I'll also upload individual strings to a few of the standout WeakAuras, some of which we discussed or showed in this video. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on stream. Cheers.